So one of the other things I've been wondering about, Bob, is our future researchers. You know, we a lot of our older researchers are passing away, and we are all in our, I'm going to say, late middle ages, but for future researchers coming along, Bob, what advice or what words of wisdom do you have for people that are just starting out in this phenomenon of Sasquatch?
Well, do you want me to answer that now?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, keep an open mind to what's happening around you, and pay attention to anything that might change a little bit. Just be aware of more of everything, especially when you're in the woods. When you're out around everybody else, you just got to kind of watch what you're doing. But when you're in the woods doing field research, pay attention to every little movement, every little thing, because it might mean something big.
Yeah.
And it might even lead to a sighting.
Right.
If you're paying a close attention. You know, it's easy if you're driving to talk to your other person that's there, but keep an eye. See, I have great side vision, and I'm lucky that I can see out there just like I'm looking straight ahead, but I've got great side vision. I can tell you what's going on with that car and that car over there. And so not everybody is blessed with that. So pay attention to what might be, and if you're at night driving, don't just go down the road visiting with your friend. Watch what's along the side, because we're lucky enough that now our lights are kind of so that they kind of flood along the side, see. Used to be the old cars, they were straight ahead. And so now then that we're lucky enough to have some side vision.
Right.
And you might miss a Bigfoot squat down like a stump or something. And if you're on a secondary road, don't drive running wide open. Drive fairly careful and slow, and pay attention
To your surroundings. Sometimes I believe it's the subtle things, especially in the beginning when you're out in the forest. It's good to familiarize yourself what is normal in the forest, so then you can identify what's possibly unusual in the forest. And a lot of times it's just subtle things.
Yeah.
But you have to be willing to be open, like you said, and be willing to do the work. Get outside, go to the forest.
Absolutely.
If you want to have an experience. And I think, and I know from my own personal life, just like yours, we're busy when we're young. We have families, we're working, we've got church, we've got school, we've got whatever, activities. And so as we, progress through our lives into our later middle ages, maybe that's why we are more in the forest. We are more open because we don't have all that peripheral noise anymore.
Absolutely.
We're kind of really focused on what our interests and hobbies are in the forest. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
And especially when you're out on a country road like this, not even a country road, just a trail road, drive at a speed where you can observe.
Right.
Because you might think that's a stump if you're driving too fast, and it might, in your rear view mirror, get up and walk across the road in back of you.
Yeah.
So you'd say, well, I can't get turned around quick enough to get a good picture of it or a good anything of it. So just drive, well, I don't want to say defensively.
I would say cautiously.
Yeah, very cautious.
Just be
very
observant. Go slow, be observant.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yes, absolutely. And
You've had other experiences other than Patty with Sasquatch.
oh yeah, yeah.
Can you tell us
Yeah.
one of your stories of other experiences, or your most profound experience with
Well,
another Sasquatch?
one of the best things that happened to me, well, I won't say the best, but one of the really good things that happened to me when I was on my trail coming up from, and I was up in Oregon. I was camped right alongside a creek underneath a big pine tree because I didn't know whether it was going to rain or what, so I camped right underneath this big pine tree, but the creek was only about 15 feet away from me. And I was just laying there looking at my book with a flashlight, thinking, where am I going to go the next day? And all at once, something bumped me in the ribs.
Huh?
And I thought, what the heck? Well, it was kind of one of them half moonlight nights, and as the clouds drifted over, you could see pretty good, but then the clouds would drift over and it wouldn't be quite so good. So I look up through the tent, and a giant figure was standing there. Well, by the time I got my shoes on and got out of that tent, it was gone.
Uh-huh.
Well, and the scuffs of me putting up my tent and everything, it never left a really good footprint, and I couldn't identify it because it was in the pine cones,
Right.
and the pine needles.
Yeah.
And so I thought, gee whiz, why wasn't I paying more of attention? Why did I just turn the horses out in the meadow and bellow and put my tent up because it was mosquitoes, bad mosquitoes.
Right.
And so that's the only reason I had my tent up. And so, and then the only reason I had a little light in there was looking to see in my book what I was going to do the next day.
Right.
And so I wasn't aware of, I wasn't ready for anything. And had I even thought that something might bump me in the ribs, I would have been ready.
Right.
I would have been ready with my shoes on and the flashlight, and
But
just
you can't be ready like
I'd
that
have
all the
come
time.
out of that tent like
I
a
know.
bomb, and tried to make contact.
Right.
Because I strongly believe that I can make, if I get the opportunity to get around one, I think that I can do some good stuff by just acting real docile, and if I can keep it long enough to get the interest there, you know, not communicate with it, but at least have some kind of
Interaction.
some kind of a relationship with it.
Yeah.
And I say it, so I'm assuming that there's only going to be one, probably always one. And the people that run into and say that they run into a colony of them have a little hard time believing that. But, you know, I mean, it's possible.
What observation would you like to see or feel or hear the most about if you ran into one? What would be the best observation that you could have to gather any information that you want to know?
Well, to act real submissive and just don't act stupid,
Right.
but just act like, hey, I'm here. I'm
Yeah.
here. I want to talk to you, and
Yeah.
and don't make any fast movements or
Yeah.
anything. That just say, hey, I'm here. I want to visit with you.
Yeah.
And,
Would you like them to speak in their language to you?
well, if it was possible.
If it's possible.
But I don't think they might grunt and groan
Right.
or in their own
Their own language.
tones. They might try and communicate with you.
Right.
I don't know that, but I'm hoping that could happen.
Right. Have you ever had mind speak?
Had what?
Mind speak where you hear the voice, maybe their voice in your head?
No, I
For a
haven't.
message, you haven't had
I
that.
haven't had that.
Yeah.
I don't think that I don't think my head goes that far.
Okay. Okay.
But
Yeah.
you know, there's so many things that I would like to do if I could ever see one to convince it that I wasn't trying to shoot it or kill it or take pictures of it
Right.
or anything. If I could convince it that all I want to do is just have some time with you.
Right.
And
I think they already know your intentions. We kind of talked about that briefly, about intentions. They know why you're in the forest. They know what you're doing there. They already know about what you're thinking.
they do.
Yeah.
Evident-
And so I would think that they would be able to know that you are not there to harm them. You're not there to shoot them. Good Lord, if we could get a picture, I don't know if any picture would be good enough, but we don't walk around with a camera strapped around our necks 24 hours a day.
No, absolutely.
So-
I don't understand cameras anyway. But you know, I strongly believe that they're a little gun shy of anything different.
Yeah.
If I was able to see one and get it within a certain distance of me, and convince it that I don't have a weapon on me,
Yeah,
and
there you go.
I'm not here to harm you or anything.
Yeah.
I think that there's still a little bit apprehensive to whether you might pull something out of your back pocket and do something, because it just makes sense to me
Right.
that anything human, the hairless one, is basically the enemy to start with, the enemy. And so to convince the Bigfoot that you're not the enemy, it'd take a little bit of doing,
Yeah.
a
There's
little
lot of-
bit of facial expressions or anything, you know, that you might say, yeah.
to be
okay.
respectful and submissive and
So
yeah.
we'd
not
have to be very, very careful of our hand movements
right.
and how we sat down or how we stood up or how we walked or anything.
How we look at them, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. What do you think they are, Bob?
Protectors of the earth.
Really? Wonderful. And why do you think that?
I think that they were put here to try and convince human beings that they were brought here to be friends, and we have made the fear into them of all of the things that's happened to them, and you know, just like a friend of mine said, they're being taken off Earth by ships. He's dead now. I wished I could have had more time with this guy. He told me so many things about myself when I was a little boy
Oh.
that no one but my parents could know about. And he was an old guy at the time. He was, well, not old, he was 75, and a huge big guy. Great big guy. He stood almost, well, he was 7 foot tall. And he was taken on aboard a ship and impregnated by this is kind of wild, by the space people.
Okay.
And then he was put back on Earth. He was born back on Earth, and he became almost immortal. He could. He said they lived on a farm, grew off of hay, and he decided to build barns. And he was just a teenager, and he went up and he cut the trees down and sawed them for perfect measurements to build a great big barn, and he showed me pictures of the barn. And he said, I was a builder. He said, before I was born on human life, I was a builder. He said, I helped build the pyramids.
Oh, okay.
And we had lasers in the top of them to move stuff and do. He told me so many things that my mind just couldn't comprehend at all, you know. But then after he passed away, and I thought, God, I wish I'd have spent more time with. But he was over in Pendleton, Oregon, and I was in Yakima. So the only time I'd get to talk to him when I'd go to Pendleton to drive and haul the pretty girls around in a buggy.
Sure. Yeah.
And so
That was a good day.
and so my mind wasn't with him at that time.
Right. A little different focus, huh, Bob?
Because I had some awful pretty
Girls.
I had Miss Idaho, no, not Idaho, Ohio and Iowa, Miss Iowa in the buggy with me at one time. And
What a great day.
These were beautiful women.
Sure.
They were already professional women. They were both dentists.
Oh,
And
wow.
and so I was so damn lucky to get them. but I always got like some young teenagers or, you know, some gals in their early 20s. But most of the time I got princesses from rodeo princesses.
Yeah.
Like 16, 17, 18-year-old girls.
Those young girls.
And so I just kept on driving.
Yeah.
Of
But
course.
I have a couple of nice women. Woo-hoo.
But anyway,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, you overlook a lot of things. This guy told me so much in such a short time that I had with him that I guess I just figured I'd have
More
a
time.
lot of time with him.
Yeah.
And
Wasn't meant to be.
I just didn't have, you
Yeah.
know. Well, I called one time and wanted to talk to him, and they said, well, he died. And I said, what? He died.
Very sorry about that.
Because it was a relative of his or somebody that was keeping house for him that was answering the phone.
Right.
And but this guy was such a unique individual that and
Did he believe in Sasquatch?
oh sure.
Did he think that there was a connection between Sasquatch and the star people or
Oh,
aliens?
definitely did. Definitely did.
Okay.
Yes. He was at Roswell, New Mexico, right after the crash. And he said, you know, those people gathered up those people and murdered the survivors.
Oh.
And he said, what do you think that our Gore-Tex and all of the stuff that we've gained come from? He said, from that crash in Roswell, New Mexico.
Oh, interesting.
He said, that's where all of the stuff that we got, the modern stuff that we got now, came from.
From their advanced technology.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Well, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's no proof of that.
I know.
But it could possibly be.
Right. Oh, absolutely. Like you said, you've got to be open. And if you are so focused on just Sasquatch and you're not open enough to see everything that could involve or may involve, or the UFOs, the lights, the orbs, the other cryptids.
Yeah.
You know, I really wanted to focus just on Sasquatch. I thought my head's not big enough to gather all this information.
Yeah, well.
But then you have to be open because other things start happening.
Well, that's why I tried to be a little open for the amount of time that I had with him.
Yeah.
Because he said he was born a builder. He said he helped build the pyramids, and he went up and when he was a teenager, went up and logged the trees off and sawed it into
Yeah.
into pieces to build a barn and corrals and stuff.
Yeah.
And his real earth parents didn't understand him.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting that he had that kind of memory? That's really cool, actually. What do you make of like the reports of orbs or lights that are associated with Sasquatch? Have you ever experienced anything like that?
Yes, I have.
You have?
Yeah, I've experienced orbs up in the Okanagan country. I was moving cattle, and I was riding across a little river like, and down there on a rock, I saw something kind of blue like setting, or kind of about that big on a rock, and I thought, what is that? And I rode down by it, but it moved. It just moved on down farther, and I never could catch up with it. So it was something that wasn't supposed to be known about, I guess.
Right. And did it float away? It just floated?
No, it just moved. It just moved.
Okay.
It was just like it would fly.
Yeah.
From
okay.
one place to the other.
Oh,
and I didn't see it fly, but an old cowboy was with me, and he said, "What the hell is that?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, I don't know for sure."
Huh.
And he said, "I've seen them up here before."
Oh, really?
And I said, "Well, what do you think it is?" He said, "I'll be damned if I know."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, but he's dead now too. So,
Interesting.
I don't have too much good luck with people that have strange things. So
Well,
be careful if I say
okay.
there's something sitting over there. So Bob, get the hell out of here.
I'll be like, turn the camera around.
Yeah, get out, get going. But you know, I've seen them, and I know that they do exist.
Right.
And
right.
Away from everything else, nobody else around.
Right.
Nothing. I've seen them.
Yeah. Do you think that Sasquatch are alien?
Well, now that is kind of a loaded question.
Okay.
I think that they possibly could be.
Yeah.
Because so many different things. We don't see Sasquatch only when they want to be seen.
Right.
And once in a while, we'll run across one like Roger and I did coming around a bend in the creek.
Right.
And whether it was a surprise to the Sasquatch or whether it was there doing something or had something in mind crossing the creek and going on up through the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of a question that I wouldn't really know how to answer.
Yeah, that's a good answer, really, because we don't know. We try to rationalize and with all the paranormal phenomenon that people do experience around in their territory, around camp, it could be that we're just associating that with them, and it could be a totally different entity too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, until we know more or learn more, and it seems like we've been doing, I say we as a rule of thumb, the people that are into this, like Dr. Meldrum and people like that, you know, that understand a little bit better of what went on and why there's tracks and stuff. But yet, we have so many questions in our background that it's just one great big question mark.
It is.
And so until we can find some answers to some of the questions, and I'm an old man, but I hope before I'm gone we will be able to find some answers. And I strongly believe that we're on the cusp of finding some answers. I don't know what kind of answers we'll
Right.
find, but for some reason I have a gut feeling that all of the advanced stuff that we're doing and everything, that we're pretty much in line with some more knowledge. And I know that's kind of crazy for
No,
me to
that's
say.
exciting. Actually, that's really exciting.
Well,
Because I mean, we're out here. We're doing the work. We're trying to have experiences. We're open enough to do that.
You are. You're
Yeah,
still
you are,
out here.
yeah.
You still have that
yes,
curiosity.
yeah, and I'm going to stay out here.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And I'll go down in a few years from now, probably, and I don't know if anything will be answered for sure, but there'll be a lot of evidence left behind that there is mysteries that we can't solve.
Right. Right.
That we just really can't put a handle on at this time. And maybe we're not ready for it. I don't know.
There's that.
God seems to be able to plant things in a manner that we can understand them. And whether we think we're too advanced or we're too far behind.
Right.
And I'd say we're too far behind, really. But that's just my observation of it, see. But, God, my own observations aren't probably very accurate,
I think they're as good as anybody else's.
Your observations are your
Yeah.
Well,
observations.
maybe
Yeah.
so, but I'd like to learn more.
We all would. That's why we're out here.
I'm open for anything.
I'm with you. I want them to come in and sit down and let's have some sort of interaction or conversation, or let me check your feet. I want to see your feet. Let me see that big toe.
Yeah.
I want to, I want to look into your eyes. I want to see them glow. I say that I do. Now, I don't know how I'd react if they actually did.
Well, I think, Cindy, you'd probably react the way I feel. I feel that I'm to the point in time that if one pulled up a chair and sit down and said, let's talk, I'd be ready to do it.
Yeah.
And but if it just come up and stood beside the tree and said, hey, yeah, I'd say, okay, whatever you say, dude.
Those are some pretty big feet you got there.
I'll say, yeah, I've got great big feet too, but just call me Larry.
Just call me Larry, that's right. This is my other brother, Daryl.
I don't know why I get a kick out of that.
I know.
Puts them big old feet out there and says,
I
my name is
know.
really Larry.
I know. Oh my gosh.
But there's fun made of Bigfoot and the jerky thing and all of that stuff. But maybe it means something too that isn't all commercialized for a profit.
Yeah.
Because okay, I'm thinking if I was out here, just out here, out in the woods, I can't do it, but if it's just I was out in the woods, just didn't even have a base station. If I was just out there kind of roaming around and lived off the land and stuff, I think maybe I'd have a chance to get to know Bigfoot and stuff. But unfortunately, I can't do that, and not too many of us can. We've got obligations, and we've got to go, and we get hungry, so we got to eat.
Yeah.
And we can't just keep on going forever and ever
No.
and living off the land
Yeah.
like they do. See,
Right.
if
right.
we could figure out how they survive so good out here. But you stop and think about this.
Okay.
I've thought about it a lot. The early Indians lived off the land. Sometimes, some places they did when they had to.
Yes.
And then they didn't when they didn't have to. But the Apaches, the Mescalero Apaches or the Chiricahua Apaches, I happen to be Chiricahua,
Okay.
but they lived. You could put them out here, and they could live off this land because they were taught from the time they were
Right.
little kids what to eat, what not to eat, how to survive,
Right.
and they didn't really need a lot of modern stuff.
No.
They didn't need none of it.
No.
So then the white man comes, and he's going to civilize them,
Right.
and don't even know that they're more civilized than he is to start with.
Exactly.
But you know, that's a white man's thought and mind. Hey,
Right.
straighten them out, send them to churches and teach them about God. Or no, the Spirit, the Great Spirit. It isn't God. It's the same thing. You know, it's the same. They're taught the same thing. The Great Spirit. You know, the Great Spirit.
Yeah.
Well, we happen to have a Bible and stuff, and it's God to us, and so, and it's written way back years
Right,
ago
right.
that God made
Right.
made Jesus and
Right.
and so forth, and Moses and all
Right.
of that. So, who are we to argue with that?
Well, we have a written
Yeah.
script,
Written
and they
script.
have a very spiritual script.
Absolutely.
The spirit of the land, the growing up with the land and the earth, and respect and honoring the land.
Yeah.
And you know, there are some of us that do exactly that. We respect the earth, but then there's others that are here to destroy the earth.
Yeah.
And I'm talking humans. And so, yeah.
In some tribes, I don't know which ones, when they went hunting and they killed something, they worshiped the thought of being able to kill it
Yes.
and survive on it.
Yeah.
And they would take certain parts of the anatomy or the body,
Right.
and they would praise the Great Spirit
Yes.
for it. And
Yes.
so, to me, they were praising God for being able to find it and kill it,
Right.
and survive on it.
It was
And
a
so-
gift. It was a gift, and they honored that life.
Yes,
Yeah, by giving praise to it.
absolutely.
Yeah, and it was essential for their survival. So I totally agree and understand with
Yeah.
all of that.
I got a little off the
No, that's okay.
out of the way.
I'm I was raised very religious, and over time I've kind of left the religion on the wayside. I mean, it's there. I still pray. I still thank God for all the blessings He's given me, but there's a whole spiritual side of this that starts, for me anyway. There's that spiritual element that is different than the religious element. So I'm thinking that's where we're both talking about.
Well, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So, and I think Sasquatch are the same. They live off the land. They only take what is essential, and they probably waste nothing, just like the Indians did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
It's a gift.
Yeah. Live
a
off
gift-
the land
a
and
gift of
whatever's
life.
out there, and the moss off the trees and the different things that is edible and
Right.
to be able to survive on.
Yeah.
We've lost that because of
Totally.
supermarkets and grocery stores.
Mm-hmm.
And what made it easy for us, other than a little difficult to get and do,
Well, we're quite greedy. It just comes down to
well,
that.
basically,
we're
basically
very greedy.
we're really greedy.
Yes.
We're
And
real.
they aren't. It's not. We're not surviving. We're greedy.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
they are
Yeah.
surviving, and so I totally respect and honor that. Yeah,
Yeah.
completely.
Well-
I love Safeway. Don't get me wrong. I'm a great Safeway fan. However,
Well,
yeah,
yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
but I think that, you know, if we're out harvesting berries, they're out harvesting berries. If they're killing a deer or an elk, that's to sustain themselves and their family, and they're not going to let anything go to waste, just like the Indians did.
Yeah.
You know, and I believe the Indians would move camp. They had summer camps and winter camps.
Yes.
And because they wanted to, you know, you don't rape the land. You reap the benefits of the land.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's just a different culture, a different belief system, and different thoughts. So
Well, we
that's
we
honorable.
as humans
Yeah.
for quite a few years have had things pretty easy.
Yeah, very.
And since World War II, we've had it really easy.
Yeah.
And World War II, unfortunately, made it possible
Yeah. Right.
because of World War II.
Mm-hmm.
But, and before that, I didn't go back very far before that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I kind of grew up. You know, I grew up as a farm boy in the state of Missouri, and we had a 160-acre farm that made a living for us.
Mm-hmm.
Between the cattle, the hogs, and the sheep, and everything that we grew on that, and the corn that we took to the mill and had ground for cornbread. And of course, that's gone way down the tube.
Sure.
But I'm an old man, you know, and so I can remember that
Mm-hmm. Right.
because I was big
Right.
enough to remember that. I was
Sure.
5, 6 years old,
Yeah.
and lucky enough that I can remember back then better than I can now.
Well, there's been some wonderful advancements, but I will say that, and I do like them too. I like my creature comforts, but
Well, I do
But,
too.
yeah.
Hey, I
Yeah.
really do. You know, I mean,
yeah.
I'm not going to deny that. I like a cup of hot
There
water.
you go. With the best of them. So, have you seen any other Sasquatch or had other Sasquatch experiences, Bob?
Well, I can say I have and I haven't.
Okay.
You know, I've had some pretty, right up here, I've had some things that I was driving too fast, and I look over there and I see a Sasquatch standing over there. Not up this road, I mean, well, we're kind of in here now, but up that road, further up,
Further down.
yeah, up towards the lakes.
Okay.
And by the time you get turned around, there is no Sasquatch there.
Yeah.
So you think, did I really see it, or did it just disappear? And you think, yeah, I saw it. I saw it. No question in my mind, I saw it. But I was driving too fast.
Mm-hmm.
Even at 25, 30 miles an hour, that's
Right.
pretty fast.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
then you think, well, maybe I didn't really see it, you know.
I know.
Maybe it's just in my mind. I wanted to see it and didn't really see it. But
What do you think about cloaking?
about what?
The cloaking, the ability for them to shift their energy and become transparent or translucent. What do you think about that?
Well, I have mixed emotions about that.
Okay.
I believe that they can disappear very quickly. And I won't say just, but disappear from our sight.
Right.
And if we had some sight that we could see into, we might be able to still see them. But we don't have.
No.
we've lost a lot of things over the thousands of generations of
Right.
of
Right.
modern life. You know.
Right. We don't hone those
And
skills.
so to try to bring it back is impossible.
Is it?
I think so. We'd have to be a very, very special person to be able to put yourself out there to be able to bring that back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think it would take a lot of time, a lot of really devoted, focused time, and I'm not even sure where one would start.
Well,
Yeah,
unfortunately,
just ask.
we'd have to do that alone or with a couple.
Yeah, somebody, a teacher of some sort.
Yes, absolutely. And nobody else to interfere.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible with the modern life to do
Yeah.
some things.
Yeah, there's so much noise going on around us. So much, so much.
Well, airplanes flying
Everything.
over.
There's
And
this constant.
used to
noise.
be the jets used to come just a streaming through here. And
Yeah.
they haven't this time up here.
Because of the smoke, probably.
I
The
suppose.
fires, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah,
More smoke
yeah.
and more fires.
Oh, I do love watching those jets come down the valley. I do. I have to say, I like to go fast and stop on a dime too, Bob.
Shame on you.
I know. Well, I can't help it. I take after you. So,
You know,
what has been the personal impact from all of your experiences with Sasquatch? Not just Patty, but throughout your life. How has that impacted you personally and spiritually?
well, it's caught me spiritually probably more than personal, because and that's only been the last 25 years, because before that I never even thought about a Bigfoot.
Right.
Well, more than 25 years.
Yeah, more than that.
But I never even.
A good 50-some years.
Yeah, I
now.
didn't have time. I was so busy chasing wild
Right.
horses and breaking horses and changing girlfriends and.
Wild women. Wild women and wild horses.
Well, I didn't think they were wild.
You were trying to tame them.
I was just doing the best I could.
Yeah.
But that again is a joke kind of thing that you think about when you get older. The silly things that you think about, and God, like, used to take my girlfriend and we'd go up and well, not in these hills, but over in the sagebrush hills, and I'd say, "Them are wild horses." Are they? Yeah, they're wild horses. We can only get so close to them, and then they'll run. And
Yeah.
Well, but how wild? Can you just catch one and tame it down? Well, maybe.
Yeah,
And maybe
right,
not. I
right.
say, if I set a trap and got a corral back in the trees with a long lead thing to pull a gate, well, I might be able to get them.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the time I've got to go work for my dad. Hey, he wants some labor out there.
Yeah, right,
That's
right.
why he's got four boys
Four
sitting
boys.
around the table
That's right.
with their feet underneath the table.
You got a ranch
And
hand.
so no, I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
But everybody looks at things from a different perspective.
Yeah.
Well, not everybody, but the average person kind of looks at things from a different perspective and wonders why some things don't fit some people and fits other people
Right.
real close. And but it's because we're humans and we got imaginations and we've got things is strong in our mind, just like now we're to the point, well, you kids aren't yet, but I am, to the point that Bigfoot is strong on my mind, and before I'm gone, I'd like to get as much proof as possible that not that they exist, but that they can be talked to or dealt with in some manner.
Yeah, interacted.
Other than just a wild creature out there that, or not a wild creature, but a creature out there that we'd like to see and like to do something with, but we can't because there's so many personal barriers between it.
Yeah, and us. Yeah, so many.
You know.
It would be nice to break some of those down.
Well, yes,
and be
if
able
if we could.
Yeah, if we could.
But you know that
Yeah.
if we could is a
don't know.
big question.
Yeah.
How many times could we be sitting here without a vehicle around us, without a tent, and without that, and be sitting and talking? Not very many times. We'd have to have some transportation in here,
Right.
and we'd have to have some protection from the weather
Right.
and whatever. So we got a tent and a sleeping bag, and
Yeah.
they don't need a sleeping bag in
No.
a tent.
They don't need our food.
No,
They don't need anything from us.
No, they
So
don't need nothing.
They need nothing
That's
from us.
why they don't communicate
That's
with
right.
us, because they
I
don't need
know.
a darn thing from us.
I know. And again, out of human greed, we want it. We want to know. We want to have that experience. We want to do experiments and have them interact with
Yeah.
us. So, yeah, it comes full circle. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
just the barrier of modern living
Yeah.
is between the survival out here and not the survival out here.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to give up my sleeping bag and my bed at night
Nope.
because I'm an old man. I want all
We
the
like
comfort
to
I
be-
can get.
We like to be warm and cozy. Thank you, Bob, so much. I really appreciate this time spent with you. It's been wonderful.
Well, thank you. And
Oh.
it's kind of nice to snuggle up to Judy when I'm cold.
Oh, I bet it is. That's right.
Even though she says, "Get away from me." I said,
those wet-
"Well, just a little while longer."
There you
Get
go.
those cold feet away from me, for Pete's sake.
But anyway, Sandy, it's been a pleasure to
Aw.
visit with you
It's been great.
because you know you have some of the same things in mind that I've got,
Mm-hmm.
and I can tell that.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah.
But what can we do about it?
I know. That's the big question.
What can we do about it?
Yeah.
We can't just put everything away and our chairs away and walk up through the brush and say, well, there's a little bit of moss on that tree. I'll eat a little bit of that. And there's a little bit of green stuff there. I'll eat a little bit of that. And I'll
I'd be
go
like,
on up over the hill.
Dad.
And if it rains, if it rains too much, I'll stand underneath a big old pine tree until it quits raining. Well,
I know.
we would never do that.
No, I want ranch dressing to go with my moss. Right?
Absolutely, Sandy.
Right.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness. It's
Yeah.
been great. We don't even get time to sit and talk with each other for an hour or 2 hours.
This
without it. So
this has
is-
been real pleasurable.
We've enjoyed
Yeah.
it too, Bob. Thank you so much.
Well, it's
Thank Judy for letting us borrow you for a
with
day.
Yeah.
it's shared with all of us.
Yeah,
what,
it is.
what we're saying,
Yeah,
and
it is.
and it's about as true as we could speak it.
I feel like I'm honest with myself first,
Yeah.
and then through that, I just am honest with everybody else. I just want to keep it real, keep it honest, and be open enough to experience whatever they want to share with me.
Absolutely. That's all
Yeah.
we can ask for now.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and
Yeah. How about you
Gosh,
guys?
I don't know. You
No,
kids
yeah.
are all young, see? So you got a long time
You
to
little
think
whippersnappers.
about things. But an old fart like me, I've only got another 20 years.
Oh, yay!
We hope you do, Bob.
Yeah,
We
we
do.
do.
Anyway,
do.
Do you have any questions, Pat? Anything?
No, you pretty much asked him, you know, like
Really?
what he
Yeah,
thinks
you?
Sasquatch is a flesh and blood, and you think there might be more to it than that,
yeah.
because they can read our minds, and
Well, I strongly believe
there.
that they can tell when we come into the forest. They can tell what we've got in mind, and they can also figure out that that we're not here to harm them, but they're not ready to come down and sit down and have a
Yeah.
ham and eggs with us or whatever, you know. They're not ready for excuse me. They're not ready for that. And we don't know how to get them ready for that.
No, I think.
Is it even our decision
our
to
decision
make?
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe
Absolutely.
you're preparing us.
Yeah. But I'm waiting for some young, good-looking one to come down out of the hills
A little
and say,
redhead.
"Come here, Bob." Kevin Jones is, no, Kevin, not Kevin. Russell Accord's got a book out about that,
Yeah.
about surviving with a young one that has white, has human being features and kind of different.
Yeah.
I didn't get to read all the book.
Yeah.
I read a little bit of it and thought,
Yeah.
God, that's a little beyond me.
Yeah.
And I don't think I want to read any more of it.
Do you think they're human?
What's that?
Do you think they're human?
Well, yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, either lower or higher than us. And we're supposed to be the highest there is.
According to us.
Yeah, according to
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
And according to the Bible and the things that we kind of believe in,
Yeah.
we're supposed to be the top of the heap and know it all.
Right. Yeah.
And we don't.
We don't. Yeah.
No,
You're
we
right.
don't know
We
it all.
don't.
And whether we have the time and the energy to pick up on a small percentage of what we should know and should do,
Right.
we don't have time for that.
No, we don't.
We got to get in our rigs and we got to go and we got
Yeah.
jobs.
Right.
Well, you lucky girl, you don't have a job.
Oh, I do have a job.
Oh, you do?
Oh my gosh, I work harder being retired than I do to work. I know.
Well, I'm sorry I brought that up. Sanders. I didn't really mean to bring that up. And we got camp robbers over there that are tearing up your stove, Annie.
Are they?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What's for lunch? What are they
There's my
eating over
banana
there?
bread over there. That's okay.
Uh-oh.
Well, they're helping themselves to something over
Yeah,
there.
that's all right. It wasn't that good.
Well,
Oh.
it must have been pretty good because there's 6 or 7 of them around there just feasting down. Anyway,
Oh, look at them.
That's all right. It's too late now.
Here, well,
Gee, Bob.
Sandy's going to be able to capture one of them.